President-elect Donald Trump has made some new hires for his incoming administration over the weekend. And on Capitol Hill, the battle lines are already emerging over some of his potential cabinet picks.
Indeed. Doug Luzader has more from Washington this morning. Doug, happy Monday to you, sir.
Happy Monday. Good morning.
All right, so get us updated. Can you go over who was selected by the former president and president-elect over the weekend?
Well, you know, we're seeing, for instance, Brendan Carr, perhaps not a surprise for FCC chairman. Caroline Leavitt will be the incoming press secretary. The controversial picks, though, are the ones that had already happened. We're talking about the picks for Attorney General, Defense Secretary, Director of National Intelligence, Health and Human Services. And that's where the Senate may really get bogged down in these confirmation hearings.
Yeah, and let's talk a little bit more about that, because do you think there will be recess appointments? How does that work out? And could the confirmation hearings jeopardize their appointments? Because I imagine you can't fight every single one of them. You kind of have to pick which one you're going to try to stop.
That's right. And, you know, some of these would go through without an issue. We've talked about Senator Marco Rubio from Florida as Secretary of State. He'd have bipartisan support. Others are going to be more problematic, and probably at the top of the list would be now former Congressman Matt Gaetz as Attorney General. There are a lot of concerns about this. There was an ongoing ethics investigation into an alleged sex scandal, and the results of that report have not been released. He would face some difficulty, not just from Democrats, but from some Republicans probably as well. And that's where the possibility of recess appointments comes into play. And this is something that Trump has already talked about. We don't know if the Senate would actually play along. And that's where the Senate agrees to leave town to give the president some space to make temporary appointments. But senators really relish the opportunity to kind of give their check of approval to someone or to say no, and they're unlikely to give it up. We'll see how that plays out.
Okay, one more slot we're kind of still waiting for here is a big one. Secretary of the Treasury. Do we know anything about names floating around for this appointment?
Well, there were a couple of big names floating around already, and now we have two more in the mix, according to the New York Times. You've got 4 individuals, and there's a lot playing on behind the scenes, apparently, to come up with a pick here. It's one of the remaining ones that we're waiting for as far as cabinet picks are concerned. And you know, we don't know how controversial ultimately that choice will be, but we're still waiting to hear from the Trump team.
Okay, Doug Luzader in Washington. We'll talk to you again tomorrow, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you.